other days slip away. Time is always moving, so you'd better not wait. Every day is precious, I don't wanna be late. When there's love to brighten up our lives, can we keep it real, cause I don't wanna pretend. I've been thinking about us being more than just friends. You don't wanna wake up all alone and regret, and find the chance for us to pass you by. Bless me. See the clock is ticking. Can we keep it real, cause I don't wanna pretend. I've been thinking about us being more than just friends. You don't wanna wake up all alone and regret, and find the chance for us to pass you by. It's ticking while the days slip away. Time is always moving, so you'd better not wait. Every day is precious, I don't wanna be late. When there's love to brighten up our lives, can we keep it real, cause I don't wanna pretend. I've been thinking about us being more than just friends. You don't wanna wake up all alone and regret, and find the chance for us to pass you by. Bless me with your smile. Bless me with that look of love, I see it in your eyes. Girl, don't test me, cause I won't compromise. Just do me right and I'll be there today to bless you with my time. Bless you with my heart and all the stuff I have inside. Let me take you where happiness abides, and let love chase our troubles all away. Bless me. Give you one small piece of advice. Listening to your girlfriends, well, that may not be wise. They know nothing about me and they're telling you lies, saying you'll find better any day. I ain't got tattoos and I don't drive fancy cars. Keep it down to earth and got my head in the stars. You'll search far and wide, but you'll find no bigger heart than the one in front of you today. Bless me with your smile. Bless me with that look of love, I see it in your eyes. Girl, don't test me, cause I won't compromise. Just do me right and I'll be there today to bless you with my time. Bless you with my heart and all the stuff I have inside. Let me take you where everything's alright, and let them chase our troubles all away. Bless me, baby. For frontin', girl, hey, cause I know something, girl, that we all want love. Yeah, we all need love. So get your head out of the way and let your heart have its day this time. Cause love, it ain't no crime. Bless me with your smile. Bless me with that look of love, I see it in your eyes. You don't test me, cause I won't compromise. Just do me right and I'll be there today to bless you with my time. Bless you with my heart and all the stuff I have inside. Let me take you from darkness to the light, and let love chase our troubles all away. Bless me with your smile. Bless me with that love, I see it in your eyes. Girl, don't test me, cause I won't.
Ladies and gentlemen, this one is Tenor Blue. One of his latest joints called Bless Me. Big tune, Vinnie Hamilton production. I dig it, man. I like one of my favorite Tenor Blue joints. Hope, welcome to the party. What's up, EK? You see me laughing? Yes, that's you. That is you. You are a trip, and I'm sure you know it, all right? I'm sure you do. More music, all right? This one is original Marcia J. Ball. Latest single. Make sure you go get this one. It's called I'm Your Brethren. Be sure to cop it, okay? I love the message.
Am I my brother's keeper? Most definitely I am. I'm your brethren if you need a hand, and you can call on me. I'll be a shoulder to lean on. Oh yes I will, yes I will.
Call on me, and if I can, I will just put your trust in me, 'cause that's the way that it should be. With family, family.
Seems like you can't make up your mind, like you can't read between the lines, like your perception ain't that fine. Just listen, this is what I'm trying to say.
I'm here to clear up all your doubts, and I'll be here to catch you when you fall, and I will answer when you call. This is what I'm trying to say to you.
I'm your brethren if you need a hand, and you can call on me. I'll be a shoulder to lean on. Oh yes I will, yes I will.
Call on me, and if I can, I will just put your trust in me, 'cause that's the way that it should be. With family, family.
In the midst of all this madness and confusion setting in, when your wits are not about you, then on me you can depend.
Just when you feel that life is over and you no longer have your friends, just remember what I told you. I will be with you until the end, 'cause
I'm your brethren if you need a hand, and you can call on me. I'll be a shoulder to lean on. Oh yes I will, yes I will.
call on me, and if I can, I will just put your trust in me, 'cause that's the way that it should be. With family, family.
Clear the thoughts that's on your mind, put the negative behind. Everything will fall in.
Hope, I'm gonna see if I can get that song for you, all right?
Stand that I'm your brethren. What more must I
Dorothea, welcome.
do you?
Catherine, blessings.
Should we go through? How much farther must I climb?
Rich.
You should already know that I'm
Kyle Dwight on the massive. I have a nice, interesting conversation today, so go ahead and share the link.
I'm your brethren if you need a hand, and you can call
It's
on
gonna be a vibe.
your shoulder.
EK.
Yes,
You're a
I
trip.
will. Yes, I will.
Call on me, and if I can, I will just put your trust in me, 'cause that's the way that it should be. With family, family.
I'm your brethren if you need a hand, and you can call on me. I'll be a shoulder to lean on.
Again, that one's Miss Marcia J. Ball, and the Roger Night's called I'm Your Brethren. Hope, what you said from last night, right? We've been holding out on you.
Oh yeah.
See if I make Zuckerberg shut me down.
Nice.
Royal Wagwan.
Oh yeah.
Jeffrey, welcome. Claude, welcome.
Taking on your own.
There's a place I know I'd really love to take you, and I'm sure that you would really like it there. I see it still so clearly through my window. There's a joy so sweet I taste it in the air.
This one's,
Boom, boom, yeah.
yeah, man, this one is Old Days,
This in my bed.
featuring J. Will
It's a place
from the album Ocharias.
we'll never know. Take me back to the old days when dance used to nice. People were rocking way back till morning light.
Blessings, 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 Jeffrey.
The old days, those days I adore.
Gonna be a nice vibe.
Those were
You're very welcome, Hope.
time on the dance floor.
the old days.
Back in the old days. There's a love that overcomes me.
Catherine, blessings.
And everyone that's in the crowd. I'll whisper softly.
Much love to everybody over there. Royal Zion Highness Radio Massive listening right now all across the globe.
Can't you hear me though? It's
My UK Massive, my Europe Massive.
ooh, yeah.
Jamaica's in the building.
This love is in my memory.
Coconut Creek is in the building.
It's a love our kids will never know. Take me back to the
All right, hope I ain't gonna make you crash your program tonight. All right, that one again is Old Days. The album is Ocharius. It's G Cole. It's Raps and Kush Band. I want to big up everybody that's always locked in all across the globe. We got a lot more vibes coming your way. Like I said, we're gonna have a nice conversation today. Well, I reason educate myself. You know, I like knowledge, so we got to talk to the people. You know what I mean? But the reality of it is this, and I said this to Christina last time she was here. I like having conversations with people who, when we done talk, me feel like I'm smarter than when we start. Right. You know, because I do talk to people who burn brain cells. Boy, when we done, you know what I mean? I'm a little less. So I'm going to go into this introduction, give the gentleman the proper introduction he deserves, all right? Coming on, the fans hit me up and be like, yo, I know how it goes. So let's do this, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Welcome one and all to Homegrown with G Cole. Again, we're coming live to the massive and crew in Europe and the UK on Royal Zion Highness Radio. And of course, from our Facebook peeps, we are facebook.com/Homegrown with G Cole. Of course, also at my G Cole. Please go ahead and like that page if you haven't done so yet. All right, it's a beautiful Friday evening. My days are running into one. So if I'm missing up the days, don't hold it against me. All right. Please, we're very interactive. Follow us on social media. That's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at my G Cole. All right, you want to say happy birthday to somebody, we got you covered. Happy anniversary, we got you covered too. You want to cuss off somebody, arrangements can be made. You know what I mean? You just want to say what's up, G Cole? That's pretty cool too. Use the hashtag Homegrown with G Cole. I don't want to put your business in the streets if you're trying to keep it between us. Brand new year, we're trying to keep it clean. All right, want to thank everybody for all the support, all the people that log in on radio, on podcasts, on everything. I appreciate you. I appreciate the support. All right, for those who are yet to subscribe to the podcast, we're available on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, wherever it is you listen to your podcast, we're there. All right. YouTube also, hit up the YouTube channel, subscribe. It is Homegrown with G Cole. Hit that notification bell. We'll let you know when the cool people come into business. All right. When the people not that cool, we won't say nothing. But when the cool people come in the building, we shall let you know. All right. And again, podcast, absolutely no cost to subscribe. Just hit the button. All right. We talk to some great people who listen to some great music. It's going to be a vibe. Today, of course, mics all open up and stuff like that. Today, of course, is our vibes. We're gonna be talking to even if we put the prefix now, minister.
Oh man,
cool, huh? I can, right?
You can.
Easy. Minister Stephane Murphy. All right. Also, many of you know Stephane as one of the dopest musicians in South Florida. And hey, in the reggae sphere, we're not even gonna just say South Florida, but you know what I mean. We don't want to make your phone blow up too much in the day, so we're gonna keep it that way. So we're having a convo, and you guys see enough of me, so I'm flipping cameras right now, so you can. It's a gentleman's in the building.
I'm here.
I don't know if it feels American, no. It's real.
I'm here.
It's real. How you doing, sir? You're good.
I'm good.
Welcome,
it's good
sir.
to be here finally.
Pleasure. I've been talking to Hope and a couple of other people. I say, yo, who I need to sit down and talk with. And I've been saying for a long time, need to talk to Stephane, you know.
Yeah.
And we need to talk to Steven.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Different occasions before that were a reasoning. And it just so happened I was in the chat room of your show the other day. And that's when I said, you know what? Let's link right now.
Let's make it work.
Make it work from right. And here we are.
You made it happen quick.
Cool, man. That's
you know, some people, they say, yeah, we make it work on 2 years.
It's still not work.
3 years. And every time you see them, yeah, man, yeah.
Call name, they're not watch.
No.
They're not I want Murphy, not you.
You're not getting me in trouble. Not at all. You're not getting me in trouble. Oh, Lord.
Hope says hello.
Hope, it's good to see you. I saw you the other night watching the video, so we'll talk about that later. But
she always supporting.
Yeah, she is.
She's dope. She's dope. Well, I'm bless up Hookie Marshall on here too. Raquel. There's a whole bunch of people. I guess the Stephane fans are out in full effect tonight.
I mean,
so
I didn't know I have fans.
Yeah, now you know. Now you know. Careful how you walk on these streets.
Hey, always, always.
For me, and I tell people this all the time, it's like I like talking to people when it comes to even the conversation of spirituality and religion. I'm thinking that I'm always conscious of who I speak to, because I feel like a lot of people who are religious, are spiritual, they don't speak English. They speak theology. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, and I was conscious too, because I said that if I got somebody who's been a minister for ages, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Then they definitely don't speak English. They speak Bible.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then if I get somebody who became a Christian last Friday, then they're radicals. So you could be talking about water, and then I'm gonna tell you, oh, you know, so you just walked on that though, right? You know, it's always comes right back to that. So I know you're a new minister, but you're not new to the faith.
No.
So I figured more or less, you know, we got a little bit of ground right there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So and we're gonna go right into it, but of course we always want to give people an introduction to who you are.
Okay.
Grew up in Jamaica?
Absolutely.
Take us back a little bit.
Born
Where in
and
Jamaica?
grow.
Which part of Jamaica?
Harbour View.
Mad things. I be happy with people like it right now.
You don't know, so, you know, all the Harbour View peeps, big up on yourself. Mountain View too.
Yeah.
Because I was over there over Auntie after school. You know, big up the Woolman's crew. I get quite a gift, you know, that day just passed. Wow. Anybody who feel a way about it, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not sorry.
Kingston School come like politics, straight up. You know what I mean?
You know what? And that's how they raise us, for real.
Yeah.
For real.
Some straight politics.
It's just...
You know what I mean?
Hey.
Well, I blocked that brother now. Somebody in that chat room said, bad people, please. Stephen. We have a red button, you know. We have a red button. We shall press it. We shall press it. So you grew up in Jamaica?
Yeah, man. Grew up in Jamaica. I left Jamaica when I was, I think, 11, going into second form. So I went to school, got the experience of high school.
Right, a little bit of it.
Yeah, I got a little bit of it. Went to first form, went to Woolmer's, do common entrance, all of that. Run track, you know.
What?
Yeah, man. Them did have prep champs, run at prep champs, and so you know the whole. I got a good amount of experience before you know I actually moved to the Bahamas first.
You lived in the Bahamas
for about a little less than a year.
Cool, no, man. So you rep the Bahamas every now and then. We're in Bahamas.
I do not rep the Bahamas. I love everybody. And I have many friends in the Bahamas.
Somebody just logged off.
But I am Jamaican, 100%.
Cool, no, man. Cool. We're in the Bahamas.
We lived in Freeport actually. So I went, and then I went to school for like one semester. It was Gumbayland, and then they changed the name to St. George's. So I was there for a little while.
You know, I always wonder, because I have a lot of folks in the Bahamas, and I tell people this, I've probably been to the Bahamas more time than I've been to Key West.
You're right.
You know, and I always wonder, in the Caribbean, because, you know, I went from Jamaica to the U.S. And, of course, Caribbean, they're close islands, and when you're there, the cultures are similar.
Right.
But I always wonder, living there, how similar is it to living in Jamaica? For the short period of time that you were
Bahamas?
there. Yeah. Different era code, that's it?
It's a different thing.
Total?
It's a total different thing.
Wow.
I mean, the Bahamas, the American influence is much more. You can feel it more in the Bahamas.
Gotcha.
Than in Jamaica.
Gotcha.
It's not quite like living here, but it's nothing like that. Nothing to come in like Jamaica in my youth.
I feel like I always said to people, when it comes, Jamaica is the New York of the Caribbean, to me. It's almost like the Mecca. People, most of the cultures, because you have people who, if they know you're from the Caribbean, as long as you speak English, they assume are you from Jamaica until you clarify.
Yeah, very true.
To the point where some Caribbean nations even have an issue with it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And our personality, our brand and everything is so bold that it can be a bit much. Sometimes I feel bad for others. You know what I mean? And we're enough, you know.
It's true. Yeah.
When I came here, the first thing I noticed with Jamaican people, if you're going on a venue, even if they were very nice, 15 minutes are going to start cost at least one cloth for stamp it, say, I'm from Jamaica.
I'm Jamaica, yeah. Sometimes you have to, and I still do that too, but not
the cloth.
Not the cloth. No. Sometimes if I have to let somebody know I'm serious, or you know the accent might come out. You know, but You know, I probably would have never lost my accent if it wasn't for going to school in the Bahamas.
Oh, wow.
Or choosing to speak so heavily with the accent, you know,
Right.
But when I went there, first of all, I couldn't understand what they were saying.
Yep.
Because them talk fast.
Yeah.
And then they were like, what were you? And then they were just like infatuated with what I was saying. So I was repeating everything 5 times.
Yeah.
And I was just, you know, I was growing up, I was shy. So I was like, you know what? Let me try and make myself clear.
So you almost lost the accent as a result.
No, it was there in reserve. Okay. It's always there in reserve.
Right.
But, you know, when as you grow and you meet different people, and people have to understand you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You can't be so caught up in your culture that people can't understand communication. So, you know what I mean? That's true. So now when me and you come now, we can say, you know?
Yeah.
So, but
people say that all the time. Like, you be talking straight English and your phone ring. I have so many American friends that say that, and your phone rings and it's just boom, you just got something totally different.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Yeah. It is what it is. Yeah. Now, growing up, of course, between then and the Bahamas and here, you grew up in a Christian household, I presume.
Absolutely, yes.
Right. I grew up going to church every Sunday. My father, whenever he was there, he did it too. And my mom made sure I went to church every Sunday. It wasn't until I was an adult, I realized, I was like, she didn't go. Right. You know what I mean?
She just made
but
sure
she made
you
sure
went.
That I was there. Yeah. And my grandma and all them people there. Now, that's pretty common also in Jamaica in terms of, you know, there's a bunch of churches.
Right.
Probably had the most per square mile. They say, I don't know how accurate it is, but it's close to being.
Probably.
You know, we got a lot of churches. So a lot of youth grew up with a church Christian influence. But even before we go there, you're a multi-instrumentalist.
Yes.
Your brother is also an excellent musician.
Yes,
and producer, an artist.
I taught him and raised him well.
Make sure you give the man him credit, yeah?
No, he's great.
He's dope. He's dope. How did the musical side come about? Are you from a musical family?
Yeah, my dad is a music teacher. Taught classical piano. He actually went to college, the college skipping my mind right now, right there close to Wilmer's too. He went to college, got his degree in music, and he was a music teacher.
Wow.
My mom sang. My dad's side of the family, everybody do something musical.
Wow.
Both sides of the family, really. I have uncles that are, you know, singers, and you know, so
you couldn't escape it.
Could not. There was no escaping it.
Right.
So the story goes, I don't remember this, but I think at 4, they said, I think I was 3 or 4 years old. One day in church, I just went on the piano.
Wow, went ham.
It was it from there.
So you're self-taught, and then
at first, yes. But I've been classically trained.
Wow.
Studied
by your
jazz,
pops?
yeah.
Okay.
And I actually had a teacher in Jamaica named John Sears. I don't know where they were from. I think they were German, but them come down, live off of Hope Road, and white guy, him and his wife. He was blind actually, and that was a great experience for me. Now that looking back, because I used to play, and he used to say, you know, no, you're playing it wrong.
Right.
And I'm like, no, I'm looking at the note. It's right, but because he was blind, apart from being blind, he was a great pianist.
Right.
But I was like, no. And he would just tell me, no, that's not right. And he's not looking at it.
Yeah.
And then we would go through it bar by bar. And then I'd be like, oh, yeah, I was playing it wrong. So Mr. John Sears. Yeah, Mr. John Sears. I think I probably for a year, maybe 2 years.
Yeah.
Got classically trained.
Wow. That's one of the things I think is dope about musicians is like the formal part of it. Because we have a lot of talent. And a lot of people come out and they love music and they play music. But I think it's always great to have that formal education. I used to do piano lessons, but here's my experience with the piano lessons thing. It was a church pianist. And they bore the crap out of you.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're only going to play certain type of music.
Okay, so it was more so for the purposes of the church.
That's not why I went there. I went there just for piano lessons, but that's what he was teaching me.
That was he was teaching.
That's
you.
what he was teaching me.
Just that one.
Yeah, everything is one of them is a hymn.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I got you.
And so there was no fun to it.
I got you.
For me, and I realized a lot of times, sometimes you have to teach people where it's entertaining.
Right.
You know, so I would still leave for a whole year. I'd leave my house going to piano lessons. I just didn't end up reaching to the piano lessons.
Oh man, you one of them.
I can say it now.
Yeah, you're grown.
I'm grown now, but you know,
statute of limitations
has
passed. Yes.
You know what I mean? Except for the fact that I might get the bill back from my father. And I was
Well,
like, you know, you owe me some cheese.
Because it costs.
It costs money.
Costs money.
It costs money.
Yeah.
What was that experience like learning from pops, though? Learning from your dad or a family member or so forth. Is it different? Is it more of a struggle versus learning from somebody outside?
Of course, man. It was pressure.
Can't get over that.
It was pressure.
Yeah.
And my dad was hard on me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Music. I mean, I was just like, sometimes I would just be like, yo, I don't want to do this anymore. But the amazing thing was I loved it.
Right.
So it was like, okay, dad getting on my nerves, daddy getting on my nerves, but
yeah,
I do love this.
Yeah.
And so, you know, after a while it got easier. But it was tough, man.
Wow.
It was tough.
Wow.
It was tough.
Your pops went to Michael, right?
Michael.
Oh, no.
Stephen probably type it in.
Wow, I was trying to get my little credit there, but no, what's up? No. Now, at what age or when? It doesn't have to be age, but when did you realize that? Because a lot of people learn music.
Yeah.
But especially when you grew up in a Caribbean household and your parents always want you to go the traditional route because security is important.
Right.
When did you realize that a musician is what you wanted to be?
Probably when I moved here to the States.
Right.
It wasn't, I moved here, and so I probably was about 13 at the time. Before I wanted to be an archaeologist.
Wow.
Yeah, I wanted to be an archaeologist. And so I used to be digging and reading books. And no, for real.
Dig up the place.
You couldn't tell me I wasn't going to be an archaeologist and travel the world and dig up rocks. And
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. But then when I got here, and I think going to high school and being around the some of the guys that I were the Dwayne Bennett's and some of these other guys that I grew up around, it was like, I have this. And I was always playing. I was always involved, but it wasn't until I got introduced to R&B music, really.
Right.
And then I wanted to be a producer, and then I was like, no, I love this.
Yeah.
And my dad, credit to him,
Yeah.
everything I said, he got it. I told him, I said, I want a bass guitar. That Christmas, I had a bass guitar.
Where did that come from, though? Because you grew up playing piano, so how did you end up with a bass?
One, and I'm going to give him credit to Roger Chambers, who now plays for everybody. He's done work with Micah Stampley, and he's in Texas now. Another Jamaican. Wow. Jamaican. It's quite a few of us Jamaican bass players out there.
I see it.
But we had a VBS one year at church.
That's Bible school for y'all heathens.
Bible school during the summer.
Right.
You get that week, and he taught me. Everybody played the piano. Everybody either wanted to play the piano or the drums.
Right.
Nobody
the cool instrument.
Right. Nobody really wasn't playing the guitar too much or the bass guitar. Not many people. And he showed me. I heard him play, and it intrigued me. And he just showed me how to find the note and the octave of the note. And that one little seed that he planted always stuck with me. And the moment I had the opportunity, it was a wrap, really.
Trust me. I'm always intrigued by the backstories, and I tell my daughter and my godkids and whomever looking at music, and their parents always say, start out with the piano, because I feel like that always makes the other instruments a little easier. If I'm wrong, correct me.
No, not really. Not necessarily. I mean, if you have the gift, if it's there, it don't matter what you start on, really.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're starting later on, maybe it'll help to go to the piano first.
Right.
You know, if from they're young, they start on the guitar, then it's,
Yeah. No difference.
No, it's really for the older people who stuck in their ways and
like me.
Yeah, well, I wasn't trying to point my fingers. So.
It's all good. It's all good, ladies and gentlemen. We're chopping it up right now with Mr. Stephane Murphy.
Yes, sir.
And guess what we're gonna write about now? I'm gonna smash a couple of little things for the massive and crew out there, because you do release projects too.
Yes.
For those people who are not aware.
Yes.
All right. And the last album you put out is Prophetic Piano.
Yes, a year ago actually.
2018.
For Memorial Day 2018.
Now, that's when I found out that you played. I'm just dropping into the background for the masses, but that's when I actually found out that you played piano. I had no idea.
Really? This whole time you thought I was
straight bass. Yeah. I had no idea. It's B Will that put me onto it.
Really?
Yeah. If Brian didn't tell me, I would have never known.
Brian, big up yourself. That's my brother right there.
Good.
Yeah, man. Piano is the first. That's the foundation for me.
I had no idea, brother.
Yeah.
None whatsoever. But it's always dope to see you guys doing your thing, because we sit down there and as artists and musicians and whatnot, we can appreciate it from way more than just you being on stage. It's a piano instrumental album, so we're just dropping some of it in the background for the masses who are listening. And of course, it is on iTunes. It's everywhere you get your music. So go ahead and check it out.
Man. If you love. If it's great, even if you don't, but it's great for meditation. If you're reading, sleep, it helps you get rest. I mean, it's just one of those things.
Wow. So you're targeting the intellectuals.
I mean, it's to bring healing, to bring peace. Music is a very powerful thing.
It is.
It
is. It'll send you in both directions.
It can. So. It really can. And I'm glad you said that, because, and I'm sure we'll get into this later on down in the discussion, but.
Right.
We got to be careful of what we're listening to.
Yeah, we got to be careful what we're putting out.
Yeah, what we're putting out, what we're putting in,
and
especially when we're in certain emotional states.
You
know what I mean?
The wrong song.
Yeah.
That is so true. That is so true. Funny you mention that. There's this movement going on in Jamaica right now, and I'm supporting it. I probably will do a recording too. It's called Excuse Me Driver. I don't know if you've seen it.
No, I haven't.
It's a lot of Sugar and Gramps and a whole bunch of other artists are supporting. What it is pretty much is they're saying to the drivers at the public transportation, be it taxis, buses, whatever, be careful of where you play.
Yeah, man.
Because they play all kinds of stuff. Sometimes they're elderly people, they're regular people just your age. It's not everything you can blast out there. I'm not the first person to say stuff is derogatory. It may just not be age appropriate. But especially when you have children there.
Right.
So, you always have the people who are, no censorship, but on public, censor that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Now, with the musicianship we're going into, you've toured a lot, right? The world.
Yeah, man.
As a musician with some big name artists.
Yes.
Give me an insight into some of the great things about being able to travel the world and do the thing you love to do.
The biggest thing for me, learning people culture, learning, especially connect with them through the food.
Right.
But you learn about people's culture, and then you learn that you're not really that much different. The differences are minor.
Right.
Culturally, where you come from geographically.
Right.
You know what I mean? They might peel because them don't really see sun, get too much sun, and you know what I mean?
Right.
But they love food.
Right.
They're proud of where they're from.
Right.
You're always gonna have people that are, for the most part, there are certain countries that, I don't know, they just rude.
Yeah.
But I'm not calling no names. But
Paris.
I wasn't even gonna say nothing.
I tell people it's not the French, it's the Parisians.
Listen. So meeting people is one of the greatest things. Just from different backgrounds, different cultures. That was it helps you to appreciate life more. It helps you to appreciate people. It helps you to be more compassionate.
Right.
Because you just see a different level of humanity.
Right.
More so than, me a Jamaican and
Yeah.
I'm African American and I'm this, and it's good to be proud of all that, but at the end of the day, you know, it's humanity. We're all human. So
I got you. I love that. I definitely think traveling is one of the best things you can do. Mm-hmm. It shows you reality, because especially in this country, I feel like Americans have a tendency to think that this is it. You know what I mean? There's not much outside of this. This is our thing.
Yeah.
I remember being in doing sales for the cruise industry.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing to find out how many people didn't have a passport.
Yeah.
Because they never saw the need to have
go
a
outside of-
passport.
Mhm.
You know, one thing I learned going outside of the country, traveling to many countries, is that, you know, everywhere's got a ghetto, man. You got rich people, you got poor people, and you
Absolutely.
got, it doesn't change.
Don't change.
You know, now we're talking about the pros there. Of course, everything, you got pros and the cons.
Right.
What are some of the downsides about being gone on the road, traveling and doing music?
I think there was like maybe 5 or 6 years in a row where I wasn't home for my birthday.
For your birthday?
Yeah. I was in somebody's hotel or
Right,
playing
right.
at somebody's show.
Wow.
So being away from family, you know, I would say that's probably the biggest con. It ain't too much in terms of that, you know, in terms of just, yeah, I would, in terms of the actual traveling, it's just being away.
Right,
You know
right,
what I
right.
mean? There were a lot of birthdays I wish I was home with family and, you know what I mean? But
Yeah, it happens.
yeah.
The pros and cons. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's not all going to be roses.
Yeah.
People would love to think that it's all going to be roses, but it's not. It's not.
Well, tour life is a different beast altogether. It's tough, man. It can be tough.
Right.
And it's not what, you know, people see you here and there and they see that you're at the fancy hotel and you're on the nice beach,
Instagram.
but they don't know that you were possibly in a layover for 12 hours.
Right, right.
And or you've been driving for the last 18 hours and you're tired and you want to sleep and you probably want some good food, but you don't really know the food where you are, so you know it can
Can't
be
take no
tough.
chances.
Yeah, it can be tough.
True.
It can be tough, and there were many times I was like, yo, I just want to go home. You know?
They see the glam, they see the glitz.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is what it is. And especially if you're a family man, you got a wife at home,
I'm
you got
telling
kids at home.
children. I mean, just being gone during that time.
Yeah.
It was tough. You know what I mean? Even when the boys were being, when you know, La Vie was pregnant with the boys who were with me. One of my best friends, Russell, who's like my brother. That's really, you know, my brother. He was going to the doctor's appointments.
On your instead of you.
To the point where when there were times when I was here and I went, the nurses were asking, "Where's the dad?" True story.
It happens.
True story.
It happens.
And I was like, I'm the dad.
That's my stunt double.
You understand? So
Wow.
being away from family is tough. It's tough.
I can imagine. Now, doing the job of a musician, you're on the road and all that, and all the things that come with it. Of course, we're humans, we're adults, we're responsible
Right.
for ourselves. We can say no, we can say yeah, we can do it. How does the job itself conflict with not family, not the kids, but spirituality?
And it depends on. At this point now where I'm at, I really believe it depends on where you should be or purpose to be. Just because you have a gift or, you know, music or you have a talent doesn't necessarily mean you should be touring. You know what I mean? As far as my spirituality, it was always tough. It was difficult for me because, you know, I would be out playing with some of the you know, I play with some dancehall artists,
Right.
and some of the lyrics weren't so great,
Right.
But then I would fly home, you know, and being active in the music ministry at my church, you know, now I'm coming home and I'm creating a different atmosphere.
Right.
So it was tough for me a lot.
Right.
It was tough because I was, you know, but I was like, well, you know, I got to provide
This
for
my
my
job.
family. I got to, you know what I'm saying? It's my
Yeah.
job. So it puts you in a very tough predicament. Well, it put me in a very tough predicament. And it's something that I battled with for as long as I did it.
Wow.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't even know.
Right.
There were many times, and I would watch, because I'm very observant.
Right.
And I would watch the state that, you know, certain types of music get people in. You know, they can get into trances. I mean,
Yeah.
I would see them just zone out.
Zombie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, some of the artists that I played for or, you know, work with, I didn't even listen to their music.
Wow. Just a job.
It was just a job, you know.
Right.
So it took some, you know,
Yeah.
time before my mindset changed, because that's really what had to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I had to come into some understanding of some things. But if you do happen to be in a scenario like that and you're on assignment, it's a part of your purpose or calling to be in that arena or in some way, shape, or form, then a person like that may be built to handle it differently.
So you don't think that there's an issue with well, I guess not, with a person of faith playing secular music?
Well, I do now.
Right.
I do now.
Right.
And the reason I say that is because I had to first come to this place of purpose. So it's all about purpose, really. All right. So I have these gifts is here to accompany my purpose. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's once I find out what I'm here to do, then I know how to use the weapon, so to speak.
I got you.
You know what I mean? So it's like you give the baby the gun, they don't know what to do with it.
Right.
And if they pull the trigger, the gun will fire, but they can end up killing who they should be saving.
Right.
So for me, I had to, once I understood, okay, this is why I'm here. Okay, I can't use it like that because I'm misusing it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If God gave it to me for a reason, then I got to use it in the why he gave it to me. You know, this is the reason why he gave it to me. So
I got you.
if I have it to heal people, then things like prophetic piano happens.
Right.
But when you don't understand the purpose, then you would be playing on all kind of that you understand?
Right.
So that's what it is.
I feel you. Ladies and gentlemen, skin out sells, but it's not what we're in about, all right? We're not we ain't about it. This one is called God Don't Sleep. It's David Pearl.
You know it's David Pearl.
We're not upon that.
And keep your hands up on me. Come in, I know where them are free. Lord, guide me from my enemies. They made them life to live and them not want it. But the one way God give you them a haunt it. But then if life was a tree, man would have planted. Them get them
Big up yourself, Nats.
live and them not want it. But they
Never walk on.
them a haunt it.
Royal, bless up. Raquel, bless up.
Man would
Thanks so much for joining us.
So leave mine alone.
EK, I feel your pain.
God not sleep. Him have him eyes on the strong and the weak. Him in every man conscience I speak. So may they never get you down. Never get you down. No.
Ladies and gentlemen, that one is called God Not Sleep, and the artist is David Powell. If you don't have that one, make sure you go ahead and check it out. It's a big tune. It is a big tune. It is a big tune. Now, you're a father.
Yes, sir.
All right, and people who I knew, I should say, who grew up in church. I would like to say I grew up in church, but when I have conversations now as an adult, I realize that I didn't really grow up in church. I went to church.
Yeah.
You have some people who grew up in church and that was life. Moms or dad or grandma or whomever they lived with lived church.
Right.
If I lived with my grandmother, that's probably, she went to church like 8 days a week. Like 3 times a day, 8 days a week. So if I was with her, it'd probably be one of them scenarios. But I do realize that right now, the people who I see resenting church and religion and spirituality the most are those people who I want to say were forced to be there. You know what I mean? How do you feel about, and I use the word force, it maybe use another word, maybe a better word, but when that stuff is forced on children, young children coming up, how do you feel about that?
Young people being forced? Well, I think it's the responsibility of parents to raise their children. They're responsible for their children. So me as a parent, as a Christian, I believe it's responsible for me to pass down not only my faith, but other things, financial wisdom, a slew of things, just a couple of things. I think it's important to pass that down. It's responsible. It's your responsibility. So I don't really look at it as force. I look at it as that's your responsibility. Now, what you believe, may differ. But anytime you see a parent doing that on a very great, degree, to a great level, they're doing what their responsibility is.
Right.
It's my responsibility to pass down
Right.
this faith,
To your kids.
to the next generation and the next generation, and it's faith, money, what we've done in the generations before, what we about, like
Right.
it's our, we cook, whoever can cook, passing down the recipes, all of these things, it's our job as parents to pass it down.
Right.
So I don't really look at it as a forced thing. What I do think is difficult, that what happens is you speak of religion and spirituality. And religion is a very, it's a thing that can get you bound.
Right.
It's a dangerous thing, or being religious, because then it's about just the motions of going through something.
Right.
You understand? And not actually applying that thing. Whereas spirituality, you're actually applying what it is that you say you believe, or, so when you are, as a child, when you go to church and mommy and daddy want to dress up on Saturday or Sunday, depending if you're Sabbath day or not, but then Monday through Friday, them of course they teaching you, that you don't
teach you the conflicts.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't see what it is that you see for 8 hours or however many days, hours you go to church.
Right.
Then you confuse the child.
Right.
And so we're so young, we don't know how to process that. Which one is it? What is this?
Right.
And so you might enjoy the Monday through Friday parent better. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because when they're not trying to be religious,
Right.
then you can get away with certain things, and you
But
can
Sunday
do
mommy
what
be
you.
getting on my
But
nerves.
Sunday, I don't want to go to church because now I got to sit down and behave. Now I
Right.
got to, you know what I mean?
Which is not what I was doing all week.
All week. And so we indirectly, sometimes parents don't even know that we're causing this internal struggle
Right,
in
with
our
kids.
children because of religiosity. And so what they grow up thinking is, well, I can go to church on Sunday or Saturday, but throughout the week, I do what I want to do. And that's religion, because religion is all about rules.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Being religious is all about the rules. And so you can look a certain way and you can perform certain tasks, but you yourself not being changed.
Wow, it's amazing to hear you say that, because as a man of faith, because and we use words, many words come to mind when we talk about faith and religion. One of them pretty much is hypocrisy, because what happened pretty much is this: what you just explained.
Yes, sir.
I think most people in church, I'm not even gonna say religious versus spirituality right about now, because to me, I've always separated them.
Right.
But some people will say you can't be one without the other, and so forth. But the thing is, it's very rare that you hear somebody of faith, a minister will say to you, yes, there are negative things about religion, because we will always say as educated people, religion was created for conforming, to get people conformed and to govern,
right,
so to speak. Spirituality is a total different thing. Like you said, religion comes from rituals. A lot of things that we do right now, even religious and spiritual practices, to me, they're more so traditions than they are rules of the Bible. You go to different churches and they have different rules. You can't wear this, you can't wear this, you can't wear that. None of that's coming from the Bible.
Right.
You realize it was the pastor who created this church. Those were his rules, and they got passed down. But when it comes to like the youth now, like I said, I was in church at a young age. I think I got baptized at about 8.
Okay.
You know what I mean? 8, 9 years old. Me and a whole bunch of people.
Right.
And the whole seeing people around you filled with the Holy Ghost. I saw kids filled with the Holy Ghost, and it's like a line. I come down and I wasn't feeling it. I was like, oh snap, on my time. I faked mine. I think I'm probably paying for that right now. You know what I'm saying?
G Cole, you need prayer.
I said, yo, if I come down the line,
right.
My time now, I'm
right.
shit.
I get it. Yeah,
You know
I
what
understand.
But it was a pressure. Even up to the baptism, to me, was a pressure. I don't think I had an option. And the people who opted not to were seen as rebels. My brother never did it.
Right.
But he was seen as he was a rebel. You know what I'm saying? But he was seen as the rebel, and I conformed, and I went and got baptized. I don't regret it, But now that I look at it, I said, is that good for children at that age to be? It's not like, because I see in church now, sometimes you'll see children coming up and they want to go get baptized.
Right.
They have that urge inside of them. But I don't feel like it was that with us. It was Taylor and I were sent, and you're going to camp, and that's the end result of camp.
Right, exactly. Absolutely. I went to camp every summer. So because we don't, so here's the thing, especially in our culture. I don't know about, we grew up in Jamaica, so I can't speak about our culture. But there's a certain level of intelligence that they didn't credit us with. They didn't think that we were capable enough to sit and understand, or it's just do what I say. And there are times as a parent where, you got to do what I say. But there also, you got to treat me like I have intelligence. Yeah. And so my experience was we didn't really get a lot of hands-on teaching. We more so watched. And from what I watched, then, it's kind of follow. Right. And I'm not saying my parents were wishy-washy, because they weren't. Right. But I'm just saying being in that environment, and I grew up 7-Day Baptist. Wow. So,
double. You get it double.
You understand?
Wow.
So, you just, they don't treat you with that level of intelligence, like, so what they'll do is they'll give you to run up and down, and they might make you memorize a scripture, but you weren't really learning about God.
Right.
You weren't learning about God's nature. Exactly. And children are capable of quite a bit at a young age.
Yep.
My sons are 6 now. They're about to be 7, and I'm still trying to figure out where their vocabulary comes from.
Right.
They use words, but they're able to listen, infer. Oh, daddy used that word in that scenario, and they pay attention. So kids are capable. Children are capable of that.
Right.
You understand? Children are capable, but if you're not treated with that level of intelligence, and you just pulling them along, then there's gonna be that type of resentment and pushback.
So that was, for lack of a better word, it's culture. It was a part of the culture, and probably still is.
Right.
Hope, I'm not confessing to anything, so I don't know what you're talking about. All right. Blessings, Lady Breeze. Thank you so much for joining us. I don't know, when it comes to, again, my view on what I see when it comes to religion. A perfect example is this. My father's pastor, he doesn't go to the church anymore, but they still have a good relationship.
Right.
We fire burn him in a big time. Look at your one now. When my daughter was born, of course, her mother and I weren't married.
Right.
And I wanted to get her christened. Right. And the pastor said to me pretty much, he can't do it unless we're married, because I'm asking him to bless this sin. No, I'm violating right. Because the child is not a sin. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But he wouldn't do it because he's saying that, in other words, we need to go get married. Yes, we did come to the church. And for me, kind of came across as politics. It's almost like, I always feel like there's a fine line between politics and religion. Some people trying to get souls, trying to get votes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, that is the way it is. And that's how I felt about that. No, man, I'm going to marry the woman. Crosses, but you don't know. So you don't think on that road there. But something like that always bothered me.
Right.
What do you think in terms of somebody's viewpoint of, I can't christen this child because you guys aren't married?
That's crazy.
Old man to was that like a brother?
That's crazy. That don't even reflect God's nature. If that was the case, right, then God would only bless those who believe in him or follow his. But on the just and unjust.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Everybody has to deal with, he's not just good to people who are Christians or who believe in him, or now there are certain things that you'll get in a relationship with him, like your daughter's gonna get certain things that other people won't, because of the relationship. But just because she's your, just because another child is not your daughter, don't mean they don't deserve good things in life, or you understand what I'm saying? So to say that, you can't christen, that's to bless the baby.
Yeah, I was livid. I never went back.
And the Bible don't teach that.
Well, majority of what and I always say politicians teach from a book or lead from a book that they haven't read and you haven't read. And I feel like religious people teach from a book that they've read and you haven't read. So regardless of how it goes up, the person on the outside is you. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not normally as informed. And if you are, listen, anybody who studies anything,
Right.
be it a book of mathematics, book of music, you really can't hold an argument there. You know what I'm saying? I remember one of my accounts teacher who was very influential on many.
Right.
He was a 7-day Adventist, and then there was other person there that was a Jehovah's Witness. And I always said to myself, why are they all conflicting each other if we're supposed to be worshiping the same person, trying to go to the same place? But it was all politics, because every time you spoke to one of them, they spent enough time telling you that the other place was not the place to
Right.
be. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I get a lot of that. Again, hence the word hypocrisy that always comes up when it comes to religion. You know, the old judgmental thing. I had a friend of mine who was a Jehovah's Witness.
Right.
Right. She, lovely young lady, and you know that they kind of have a cult-like vibe. So they wanted her to marry within the faith. You all have that whole uneven yoked thing, which I think people misconstrue. But they wanted her to marry there, and she did. Turned out that the husband was abusive, right? And then when she decided that, nope, she doesn't want to be involved in this abusive relationship and step away from it, they actually did not necessarily condemn the abuse that she went through. They condemned her leaving the marriage. You know what I mean? How does that, is that, and I'm sure every church differs, but how does that, how do you see stuff like that when it comes to your type of church and so forth? How do they deal with situations like that?
Well, let me tell you, at my church, Transformation Empowerment Worship Center.
Big up.
It's all about what the Bible says.
Right.
That's it, point blank, period. We're not going off of what grandma and them said or what uncle them said or what the next person said. If what they said line up with God's word, great. If it doesn't, we're not sticking with that. We're sticking to what the Bible says.
Right.
And one of the things that the Bible says about God is that God is love. And when you find yourself in situations where you are not expressing love, then you have to really take a step back.
Right.
You understand? And so God is not an abusive God. And he would never want to put us in any type of relationship that's abusive. So, you know, again, it goes back to tradition. Sometimes people get more caught up in, this is what I know, this is what I've grown up with, this is what I'm used to. But if the Bible is the foundation, if this is the book, right? If the Bible is the book that this is what I live by, then I got to study it.
Right.
I got it not only for what it teaches me to do, but what it teaches me not to do.
Right.
You know, understand? You understand? And there's a lot of those different, everything, you know, for the most part, principle-wise. Everything principle-wise is covered in the scripture. And so, and even if you don't see every single scenario written, then you look at the nature of a thing, right? So when we talk about the nature of God, I can say, well, you know, walking up and slapping somebody, that's not consistent with the nature of who God is. Because God is about love. God is love. God is patient, patience, kind, temperament, faithful. So when you find yourselves not expressing or exemplifying any of this, then you're not going by the book, you're going by tradition, you're going by religion, you're being religious.
I 100% agree with that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say I know the book from cover to cover. Know a couple books here and there. You know what I mean? The ones you know, everybody else know. But, but I so agree with that. And I always say to people too that there's got to be out clauses in everything. You know what I mean? You get into things with the best of intentions, but some people make it seem like from a Christian standpoint, you're not supposed to get divorced. This is my personal feeling. I don't think that God puts anybody in a position that wants you to be unhappy. So if you make me unhappy, then I need to consult my attorney.
See, but the problem is we consult God when it goes bad, but we don't consult him before we go into it.
True that.
And it's because we don't understand. Everything God does is for a purpose, is with purpose. You understand? So if you look at even the beginning of the Bible, where God created Adam, and Adam had his thing. He was doing his thing, and he was naming animals, and he had his purpose. And God was like, yo, it's not good for him to be by himself. I'm going to give him Eve. And then he gave them purpose. Right. So there was a purpose why they were together. Be fruitful, multiply, dominate, replenish the earth, right? So a lot of times we get married, but we don't think of, well, the person that I'm getting married to, there should be a purpose to this relationship. There should be a purpose to this marriage.
Right.
And so you can marry people because they look good or because you're under pressure, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's why you should be getting married.
Wow. So the problem is not the marriage.
No.
The problem is not the institution of marriage.
No, absolutely
The problem
not.
is marrying the wrong person for the wrong reasons.
Is understanding, the purpose of marriage.
And I'm a firm believer that most people that are married for the wrong reasons. If you have a conversation with people, I mean, don't get me wrong, they may be married forever. Stick it out and miserable as hell. You know what I mean? But it is for the wrong reasons. You have, like I mentioned, the religious radicals who insert religion into everything, right? The extreme opposites you have now are the people who try to take religion and spirituality out of everything, right? As a minister, again, you're not a new Christian, but you're a new minister. And I always feel like when it comes to, I have friends on that every time something spiritual come up,
right?
It could be a T-shirt. You know what I mean? They got to post something. They got to, and it's like no matter what, some people, their sole purpose at this point in time is to just oppose some stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? You put your name up there and start dissecting until they say it's going to hell or whatever the case may be. How do you deal? Because I'm sure people probably come at you. You're a spiritual guy. So it comes your way. How do you deal with those people who are radicals from one extreme or the other?
Sometimes. You just gotta. All right. Jesus said this about he don't cast pearls before swine. Sometimes some conversations you just can't have, and you have to let people be who they are,
right?
Because they're never gonna understand you. They're not trying to reason. They're not. They just want to be extreme as they want to be, or religious as they want to be. And I never consider what my belief or my I don't look at it as religion, because again, I always say that that gets you into a ritualistic way of doing things, of just going through the motions. And so you could be doing something and you never get change.
Right.
And being in a relationship with God is all about him changing you to become more like his nature.
Right.
Because we were made in his image and likeness. And so sin happened and we fell out of that. And now we're just trying to get back to that original state in the way we think, the way we talk, how we look at things. You understand what I'm saying? But for some people who might want to argue certain things, it's not worth my time to argue.
Right.
They're not in the place where they're even going. They're gonna understand.
Because some people are in it not for the solution, but for the argument. A lot of people realize that they're in it for the argument. John, welcome. IMR, blessings. Joniel, blessings, wherever in the world you are.
Who, Joniel? Joniel right now in somewhere I can't even pronounce. He's in the Netherlands somewhere.
Wow, see there. Tuning in and trying to be blessed.
That's my brother right there.
You know what I mean? Trust me. Good dude.
He been calling me pastor all the years I was touring.
For real?
Yeah, he's always called all of them.
Yeah, call him pastor.
Yeah. So
it's good to have somebody like that around, because you bring a certain level of, even if it's not that you're changing anybody, but sometimes people won't do something because they're in the presence of you. So sometimes you never know. You're put there for a reason. You just don't understand the reason.
But I really was trying to run from that. No, because growing up, I always knew. I didn't know how. I was like, I know I'm gonna be in this ministry thing. I know. Because all my uncles, my dad, my whole family, and not because they were, but I just knew it inside, and I just was running from it because I had grown up seeing so much religiosity and tradition. It really, I was like, nah, there's no way this ain't for me.
Right.
You know,
right,
this ain't for me. And I used music, which was a gift, a tool that God gave me to help me in my purpose. And I tried to create a whole other,
Right.
you know, scenario and life for myself.
Right.
But eventually, man, you got to stop running.
Wow.
Stop running. You got to stop running. And I thank God for, you know, I thank God for really who was really instrumental in helping me to see my true purpose is my pastor, my apostle now, Apostle T.D. McNutt. I'm sure he's watching.
Big up.
I'm sure
T.D.
my church
Jakes.
family is watching. No, not T.D. Jakes, but T.D. McNutt.
Right.
But I'll tell you this about him, and this is what so helped me radically. And actually, all the churches I've been a part of, I've had great leaders, and you know, but when I tell you about something that lives, what he preaches, what he studies, what he teaches, to the T.
Wow.
I mean, to the T, and it makes me go, oh, okay, it can be done. They are okay. It can be done. It is possible.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you have to be detached from traditions,
Right,
and you know, family cultures and church
Right.
culture. You know, you got to really be just all in with the Bible.
Wow.
Yeah, really.
I also get the impression that though you're a minister now, you're not necessarily a far cry from who you used to be years ago in terms of how you carried yourself.
Right, absolutely.
You know, so there's so a lot of things you weren't involved in regardless. But do you find yourself now still having to shake a couple of people just to say, listen, this person now gonna be a part of the journey because of how they do what they do?
Yeah. When you realize, when you understand why you're here, and this goes for anybody, even in business, when you understand what you're trying to do, when people not on that, when they don't have nothing to do with where you're going, or you just got to be like, hey,
Gotta shake them.
I'll see you later.
Right.
I love you,
Right.
but you can't go on this journey with me. And so there were, you know, it's just certain things that's not necessarily wrong, but it's not beneficial to where I'm going. It's a waste of time.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not helping me to become who I should become. So it's like, it's not a knock on them. It's just, this is about where I'm going. So,
Yeah.
you know.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, again, we're having a nice little convo right about now. We're going to give you some music saying, unless a G Cole, I will back on.
Yeah, give them some music.
There's nowhere to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, that one is the legendary Mr. Winston Francis. Aqua Gem Records release. It's called I'll Be Around. If you don't have it, make sure you go ahead and get it. I'm having a nice conversation today with Mr. Stephane Murphy, aka Minister Stephane Murphy. If you don't know, you better ask somebody, but it is what it is. All right, it is what it is. Funny, again, I most of what I talk about are from the conversations that I have on a daily.
Right.
All right.
Right.
Or every other day, but I have them. Is there something wrong in your eyes with a Christian listening, not just the bus and hearing, but having and consuming music that's not? I'm not going to use the word secular,
Right?
Because I think secular is a word created by religious people to condemn anything that's not what they deem gospel. That's just my opinion. But do you see anything wrong with Christians or religious people consuming
Christians,
not Christians, consuming non-gospel music?
No, not well. When you say non-gospel music, no, because the gospel is really just the good news of Jesus,
Right.
So if you're not talking about the good news if you're not talking about Jesus, if you're not preaching the gospel, which is evangelizing or evangelistic in nature, then it's everything else is kind of inspirational,
Right.
You understand? I mean, not everything, but even if you're pointing me towards,
Right.
Jesus or a relationship with God, the gospel is a very specific message. You understand what I'm saying? So no, but I do think that I don't think anything is wrong with that, but I do think that it's important to monitor what you're feeding your soul.
And I don't mean derogatory music and music with crazy language, but I speak to people who are of the church, right? And it's unfortunate that we have to say off the church because, again, Jehovah Witness, Baptist, Church of God, all kind of things, and them go to church. So unfortunately, everybody gets painted with a broad brush, But it's like a lot of people act like you can't listen to some Luther. And I always say to myself, when the Reverend is trying to get his romance on at the crib, he's not necessarily, there's not the Mississippi Mass Choir that's bumping in the background. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not trying to hear it stir it up.
No.
Yeah. Well, not their version of it.
Not their version of it. So that's what I always wonder, and the conversation always comes up. Is it okay for Christians to be listening to some Luther, some Commodores, you know what I mean? Well, I would say some R. Kelly, but he's banned.
Yeah. So, R. Kelly kind of. But it depends. No, because R. Kelly did I Believe I Could Fly. That was an inspirational song.
Yeah. Also did anyways.
Many people. We know what the other thing, but I'm just saying.
Right.
It's all about what you're getting fed.
So do you stop listening to I Believe I Can Fly? Because
no, for what?
No, he also had a dope gospel album to that I really liked. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What's it called? Happy. Whatever, I don't remember what it's called, Happy People, something like that. But he had a dope gospel album. But do we cast him out to the wolves because of the indiscretions? In other words, support certain things, but do you no longer listen to the I Believe I Can Fly?
I still believe I can fly.
You still believe that?
And I'm trying to fly in life.
Right.
I'm trying to ascend. I'm trying to do better things and do things I never. It's inspirational. Now that doesn't mean I condone what he did or what he was struggling with.
Right.
But I tell you what, if people all right, I won't even say what I was going to say.
It's
but
all right.
I don't want to
stir nothing that's going to I feel you.
And it's not even about trying to be politically correct. I just want to make sure I'm careful of what I'm saying because it's not to be insensitive to anyone or what anybody has experienced.
Right.
But R. Kelly has been troubled for a long time.
Right.
And the industry helped him to become what he...
They fed the monster.
You understand what I'm saying? Especially people who were in the know of what was going on. You understand?
It's a job and they're getting paid.
Yeah.
And fans too. The fans love Kel, so they, you know what I mean?
Right. So, but I'm not going to stop listening to I Believe I Can Fly. I mean, it's still the message. It's about the message.
Right.
It's not so much about him.
A lot of Pentecostals gonna pull you over in the supermarket this week and say, "Yo, we need to talk
about what." I mean, the song is talking about thinking you couldn't do something, you know?
Right.
And then it's saying, I believe I can surpass whatever my mental capacities were, whatever my mental limitations were. I believe I can go past that.
I love it.
I mean, you know, I'm not saying you're supposed to go. I'm like
bump and grind. Ain't bumping the bump and grind.
I just understand what I'm saying. I'm just
saying. I get you. It's just that most times when I have conversations with church folks, they're again, you get a lot of radicals, right? People who've been there for a long time, people who are new, and they don't share those kind of sentiments.
Right.
Sometimes I think people aren't even educated on a subject. They just feel like my response to certain things are predetermined. You know what I'm saying? By my faith and by my beliefs. So and we see that with a lot of church folks. Now, I also know a lot of gospel artists, right? And gospel musicians and stuff like that. And every time I speak to them, they're the most conflicted musicians and artists I've ever come across, because they seem to be working with a certain pressure that nobody else has, even if they haven't put out one song. You know what I'm saying? There's no record label on their back, but they're always conscious of the church and the pressure from the church and the church community. Why is that?
Well, I think it's for a couple of different reasons. I think sometimes a lot of gospel artists that call themselves artists shouldn't be doing that in the first place. That's not what they were put on this earth to do.
Right.
So they get caught up in things that really don't matter. And then I do think that there are some people who are in church, and I put up the quotes on purpose,
right?
Who can be traditionalized in their thinking, and who can be they're more in tune with tradition than the Bible, and so they push against what is God.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so if you read if we really read the Bible and study the Bible like we say we do, then we'll see that God works in so many ways that you would not consider conventional. He just does it how he wants to do it.
Right.
And so as long as it accommodates what his nature is, what God is about, who God is, then it might not look the way you want it to look.
Right.
You understand what I mean?
Right.
I mean, a lot of people, when Kirk Franklin came out, left it up. If you had left it up to them, we wouldn't have Kirk Franklin.
True that.
You understand?
That is so true. And when Kirk Franklin came out, I thought it was very necessary, because that message reached some people in some places that
absolutely
the choir would have never
absolutely
reached. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's amazing to hear again. Because again, with these conversations with these gospel artists, and it doesn't come across like it's the artist that's troubled. It comes across as though they know they're in the studio creating music, knowing or fearing that the reverend is going to have an opinion. I always wonder how the reverend's so empowered anyway, but that's a different question. The reverend's going to have an opinion or a say, and they're very, very caught up in that, very, very conscious of what the church community is going to say, because in their eyes, they're putting on a song that's not. It's spiritual, it's inspiring, but it's not, the hook is not Jesus save me. You know what I'm saying? So they're already fearful of what the response to that's going to be from the church. And it kind of gives off the vibe like the world is more embracing of you than the church is of you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You've worked with a lot of gospel artists. Have you ever come across or seen that? Like that vibe from these gospel artists, like they're timid in terms of putting out music because of what the church might say?
Yeah. I've come across that, but again, I think it's the responsibility falls on both ends, because there are some people who are a part of church that's just religious and just traditional and just crazy. You understand? But then there are some gospel artists who, if that's what they call themselves, gospel artists who they're trying to push the envelope and they're trying to create music that really trying to go in lanes that they shouldn't go in, and they're trying to sound like
right
the
non-gospel artist.
Right, they're trying to sound like whoever R. Kelly, or they're trying to sound like, and it's like, why you need to sound like them?
Right.
You understand? Like, be original to who you are. And it doesn't have to sound like hymns, or it don't have to sound like Fred Hammond. It don't have to sound like that, but be true to who you are.
Right.
And a lot of them don't know who they are. They just got a gift. I could sing, or I could do this.
Right.
And so let me cultivate that. You know what I mean? And I think what we really need now, more so than ever, is not just pastors and, you know, we need like fathers. We need spiritual fathers. I believe in that 100%. God didn't put me in this earth without a biological father.
Right.
You understand what I mean? So when it comes on to spiritual things, there has to be somebody that's there who has walked that road, who has been there, who is I'm connected to in that way, because I didn't choose my dad, right? I didn't choose my father.
Right.
So I also don't believe you don't get to choose who your pastor is, or who you don't just go somewhere because you feel like, oh, it's nice, I like it here.
A lot of people do.
But that's not how God works.
But
that's a whole other conversation, right?
Right.
Because when you think about it, which one of us got to choose who our mom and dad was?
True that.
So it's just certain things. God don't give us a say in it. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't know. Now we might choose to go to a certain church because they're not going to ask us to do nothing. We can just come, go. We don't have to be committed. We don't have to, you know what I mean?
It feels like the club.
They're going you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but I feel like we need, I really believe we need more of that now. We don't need pastors who just want to take advantage of gifted people, whether they sing, play, or whatever. But we need fathers. We need those that will help to shape identity, that will help to lead them in purpose. You know, not just about, hey, you can't do this, but what can I do? If I can't do this, what can I do?
Right.
Tell me, you know what I'm saying? Why am I here? You know, so, and that's what fathers do. And so I think we need that. I believe we need that more so now than ever. But that actually entails coming out of what you call church culture and coming into kingdom culture, because we never see Jesus talk about church. Jesus always spoke about the kingdom of God being at hand. Right. So that's really what we should be, more so than a church culture.
I gotcha. Ladies and gentlemen, again, I think the conversation needs to be had. And like I said, sometimes just finding the right person to have the conversation with, somebody who's open to discuss it. We're going to drop another tune right about now. We'll be back in a second. Keep it moving, keep it grooving. It is Homegrown. New single, ladies and gentlemen, it's called Contagious. Chris D. Montague. Wall Street ain't easy, you know. Not so I go on. Wall Street say you can't sing He Touched Me There when making. Where delete that comment there? Big tune. Big tune. I go to church, and I'm careful to say I'm a member of a church, because if you're judged based on times I've walked through the door, probably not. You know what I mean? Where does this, and this again coming from conversation, I feel like a lot of pastors, especially in the traditional churches and the black churches and stuff like that, are in my eyes just overly empowered. It's like, and I know the whole father concept, but it's kind of like everybody in that church, it's like they have a say in how they live their lives, what they do, and of course, nobody has a say in a pastor life, you know, and what he's doing. But but everything they do, they're ever so concerned about what the pastor's view is, and they have the church leaders who feel just so empowered that they can interject an opinion into everything those church members do. I'm going to chalk it up to tradition. Some people may chalk it up to be from the Bible. There's a lot of things when we sit down and have conversations I don't think is biblical. I have my, there's not everything even in the Bible that I think I think some things are parables. I think some things we misinterpret. There are parts in the Bible that certain things conflict and contrast. And just like literature, you will read the Shakespeare book and that person they're reading and get two different things from it. You know what I mean? And then there's the teacher now telling you this is what it is, until later on in life you figure that they were wrong too. You know what I'm saying? So I always wonder, where does all of this come from? Is it biblical? This whole empowerment, we talk about a father, spiritual father, right? Whatnot. Is that biblical or is that traditional?
No, that's biblical. And we see it in many different scenarios. We see it with Elijah and Elisha, or some people say Elisha. We see it with Paul and Timothy and all those that he considered spiritual sons. We see it. We see so many. When you read the Bible, you see those type. Now, you see those type of relationships. Now, sometimes because it don't say, "Oh well, this was his spiritual father," then we might not look at it that way, but look at the nature of the relationship. Joshua, Moses, and Joshua. If you read very carefully, Moses groomed Joshua. You know what I mean? Go back and read it. Right. You know what I mean? So it is definitely biblical. What I do think the issue is that when you don't understand, again, the roles in the responsibilities in the role, some people can step outside of what it is that their realm of influence should be, on both ways. You understand? As a son and even as a father or spiritual father. But I definitely believe it's biblical. Some people though do it for the wrong intentions, with the wrong motives. And again, if you just do it like how the Bible say do it, then you won't go wrong. You understand? Because the Bible is very clear. But when you get into putting in your own opinion and your own thought, then that's where you're gonna run into problems. Now,
your church is different from you. Grew up Baptist, you said, right? Seventh-day Baptist. Are you still Seventh-day Baptist?
No. Well, I grew up. I went to a Seventh-day Baptist church. I never. It was funny. I was telling I don't know who I was talking to the other day, and I was telling them, my brother and everybody else is in the records of the church, is being baptized and a member and all of that. I never did.
Oh yeah.
I always was like, nah, this is not.
Yeah.
No, this is. There was just something inside of me like it's more than just this.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I grew up around that influence, but I never called myself Seventh-day Baptist. Yeah.
Now you have the Pentecost, you have the Methodist, you have again all these millions of denominations. I'm exaggerating, but. And everybody's got their own rules, their own traditions, their own, you know what I mean? And if you go from one to the other, it's like I'll be having a conversation with my mother-in-law, and she's a staunch believer of this. And yes, I am wrong, because I will stir the pot. You know what I mean? I push the argument just for time.
That's all right.
You know what I mean? I do it to my dad too. Because I personally feel like the God I serve is a loving God.
He absolutely is.
By the sounds of many pastors and by them, the God them serve, it was set up by Hitler. You know what I mean? He's very, very forceful. If you don't do the thing the right way, we talk about even, the acts that we do right now, I said not everybody across the globe knows about Jesus, knows about the God we serve. You know, so if they need to know about the God we serve in order for them to enter the gates of heaven, what more if them die before that information ever comes to them? Do I serve that cruel and unjust a God that person gonna go down into the hell? You know what I mean? As well as sin. Yes, a sin is a sin, but there are different levels of sin. I've never killed anybody before, but I've sinned. I'm a little perturbed to think that, you know, we gonna be on the same floor. You know what I mean? In the next realm.
Well, God don't look at sin in degrees. Sin is sin.
So that means that I focus on the wrong. So I'm here trying to live good, saying that and that and that is out of the realm. I'm going to tell a lie here and there or whatever. You know what I mean? But then you're talking about people who are murdering and killing. So this man I murder and kill. And me, I do some light indiscretions. You know what I mean? And the two of we are going to face the same judgment. And that a little crazy? No? It's just like going that my wife's a greater, I think that she's a great human being. I think I'm alright. You know what I mean? I can't see in other life, no, me and her on the same floor. She probably going to be in the penthouse.
On the same floor.
I'm going to be like in a lobby, but I'm going to heaven. You know what I mean? So, but it's a little puzzling to say that it's just blanket and everything is right. It's either right or wrong.
But that's how God is. It's
straight right, straight wrong.
There is no, my pastor says this all the time, and he's an apostle. So let me say, he's a pastor also. But when you mix black and white, you get gray. And ain't nothing about God is gray. It's either black or white. Right. And so as much as God is a loving God, he still is a God of standards. It's this way, and you need to do it this way, and there's a reason. I know everything. This is God speaking. I'm the one that's all knowing, not you. You got to follow the way I say. But we want to do things our way. We want to, we want to throw in our opinions.
Right.
But as loving as he is, he's just as strict, if you want to use the word strict. And so sin is sin, and sin has its repercussions. Now, there might be in this life that you are living, there might be greater degrees of punishment that you face for lying as opposed to killing somebody. You can lie and not go to jail. You kill somebody, you're gonna go to jail. But
so laws and morals are two different. So we need to say, our laws and sin are two different something.
Right, but sin is sin, and the Bible said, and plain as day, for the wages of sin, mean what you earn from sin is death. Point blank period. Now it was speaking of a spiritual death, but even that leads to can lead to a physical death. But I don't want to get too deep in. I don't know how much time we have.
So that's episode 2.
Yeah, I don't know how much time we have.
Well, you know what's amazing too is when it comes to the word, people always, every time I have conversations, what's always said to me is, and I say it too, is that the most judgment is passed in and by the church. You know what I'm saying? In other words, when it comes to the world at large, people are a little bit are more understanding. People are a little bit more embracing. They're supportive, whereas most people from the church, the natural thing to do is to automatically pass judgment because I'm so empowered that I can judge you. You know what I'm saying? Now, and I say what we see over here, and I'm sure what you hear from me, I'm not the first person to hear it from.
Right.
But what comes to mind when you hear people say stuff like that? You're a man of the cloth. You're a minister. What comes to mind? How do you feel? It's almost like when you're a cop and people start judging based on what this cop or that cop does. But how do you feel when people come at you with the fact that, why is it that the church, which is supposed to be a judgment-free zone, is the most judgmental place you can find yourself?
Because I think church is about, to me, church represents church culture nowadays. Represents religiosity, traditionalism, as opposed to the kingdom of God. And so we get, when you talk about church culture, even though it should be synonymous, it's not.
Right.
Unfortunately. Then that's just the truth. And so now we have to separate. just the church thing and what's really kingdom, because that's what God is looking for. That's what he's about, his kingdom. He ain't worried about a church culture, because that's a completely different thing. And so for me, I count it as an honor to exemplify something different than what people have always been exposed to or seen over the years, because it's not about looking the part. And should there be when there are rules, right, and rules are broken, there may be judgment or repercussions in place for that, absolutely. But I think what we forget is that God is love. I mean, the Bible have a whole chapter in 1 Corinthians on love. You know what I'm saying? So we don't know how to be balanced. And even in passing a judgment, as we do as parents, right? We still can do it in love. We might make a judgment that says, you know what, you might need to be grounded for a week. But I'm still going to feed you every day. You're still going to have a place to sleep. You're going to have a home. I'm not going to kick you out on the street because you're facing, whatever those repercussions are for whatever the offense was. And I think what happens is, yes, people might make mistakes and they might err, but that don't mean you throw them away. Because you're making a judgment, or because, hey, listen, really it's just to say this is not right. And let's work on getting it back to how you should be, or where it should be, as opposed to, you ain't good enough, or you can't be around us, or the Bible don't teach that.
Now, as a minister, now that you look back, have you ever seen that judgment coming from the church? Because the other thing pretty much too is, when you ask somebody about it, they'll be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Never seen that before. Does that happen? Have you ever seen that? Jesus,
plenty time. Whole heap. And I've always said, that's not God.
Right.
Think about it. G Cole. Make me think about it, right? Let's just go off of the Bible, right? In the beginning, God created the heaven and earth. He created Adam and Eve. Sin happened. Satan seduced. We're not going to go into who got seduced, and right. We know what happened, right? So sin came into play. From that point on until now, God has been putting in place, redeeming us back to him, having that oneness that they had before, right? Jesus came and died, and was now that redemption, and but for years, centuries, decades, thousands of years, hundreds of years, all he was trying to do, and all he's been doing, is making himself available to us.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So if we're in a place where we're trying to push people away from God, then that's a dangerous thing to do. And you can hold people accountable and still love them. You understand what I'm saying? And help them to see, because love is not just about giving you what you want. Love is not about being pitiful. If you do that to your children, somebody gonna say you're a bad parent. And we see some of those parents who let their children get away with murder, the children in public, and they throw themselves down and they just, I love you, but you're gonna get some discipline. There's some standards you gotta follow. You know what I mean? So, but God is a God who's forever been working at getting us back to one with him. And really, that's what it should be about. Becoming more like him, having a relationship with him. And the more you learn about him, the more you disconnect from tradition and all of that, is the freer you become. You know what I mean? And so there are a lot of people who are not free. They're bound emotionally, mentally, financially. I mean, just because, for several different reasons.
I got you. Now, like we said, you've been a believer, but you're a new minister. do you remember? Because people talk about a lot of things that happen spiritually within the church and stuff like that, almost like it's an epiphany, almost like it's the burning bush, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. Do you remember that moment when you decided that, no, and I'm not going to say no to music because you probably still are involved in music in the
Absolutely.
church, but no to that life and yes to the ministry?
If I remember the moment.
The moment. Was there a specific moment where you just, or was it a traditional build up and you know what you
Nah, there was a moment.
Yeah?
There was a moment.
Wow.
There's a moment, and it's when I fully understood. Okay, Steph, this is why God put you on earth for this, for these things. This is just your journey. Some people go a different route because not everybody is called to be in ministry, and not everybody are going to be pastors or prophets or apostles, teachers, evangelists, right? Not everybody, but you have your role to play. And so when I realized purpose, I was like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. It's making me money, but that's not really that's a distraction, really. Right. And so I just walked away from it. I'd let everybody know. I don't even know how long it was, but everybody, I was like, hey, this and so is going to be my last show or my last whatever. And that's what it was.
Wow. And did you get any pushbacks?
No, everybody was
supportive?
Like, yeah, we know you a long time. Yeah, man, you're a pastor boy a long time. And I'm like, wow, really? Wow. They were like, yo.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Actually, a lot of the response was amazing because some people said to me, I don't know anybody that could do what you did. And I respect you for that.
Right.
You know, actually, Zemra said that to me. Zemra was like, I respect what you did because not a lot of people can do what you did. And I was like, okay, wow.
But you didn't see it that way. It was just transition for you.
Yeah, it was just it's time to stop running.
Wow.
It was time to stop running. And now that energy that that discipline and skill and all of this other stuff that I've put into music, I can put into other areas.
Right.
You know, and that's where I'll flourish the most.
Right.
That's where I flourish the most. What my lane is, and so I had to learn that.
I love it.
And once I figured that out, it was no more wasting time.
Right.
The worst thing you can do is fight with God. You're gonna lose every single time. Ask anybody. I promise you.
I feel you. The other thing, let me ask you this: how do you feel about mega churches?
I've never really been a part of one. So I don't. Well, what aspect of mega churches? Because I mean,
well, I guess the commercialization of it in terms of, because I talk to people from smaller churches, right? And when you talk to people from smaller churches about mega churches, they always say it with disdain. You know what I mean? It almost seems deplorable to them. The fact that it's all commercialized, you're all on TV. It seems to be pretty much all about money and being popular and being famous. But the funny thing is this: in that small church, I always see, because my church is a mega church,
right?
But it wasn't always. I saw the growth. I know it's one of the biggest, right? But when I go to a smaller church, I see all the measures being implemented to make them a mega church. You know what I'm saying? So you see the cameras, right? Now, if the church had 8 people, there's a camera in there.
I mean, we live in a different time.
But I'm not talking about streaming. I'm talking about employing measures like professional record. You could tell that it's the same. They're on the same trajectory. Nobody's going to say, oh, that's too much success for me. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean when I say, how do you feel being from your background, being the smaller church, when you sit down and you watch these mega churches and the stigma that comes along with mega church? Because the profit goes to the mega church, but the stigma comes to everybody. You know what I'm saying? How do you feel when it comes to the whole topic, the whole thought of mega churches?
Well, I mean, the word mega means you got more money, more responsibility, more staff, more, and so you know, church. So you're doing work, but work includes money and business. You know what I mean? You got to pay for the building.
Right.
You got to pay for the lights. You got to pay for the TV time. I don't even think people know how much a 30-minute slot is.
Right.
On television. It's a lot of money. You understand? I mean, a lot of money. And I'm talking about $30, $40, $50,000
For one
for
slot.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
You understand? And don't let it be a prime time slot.
Right.
Now you're talking,
Hundreds, yeah.
hundreds of thousands. So money is important.
Right.
And as the leader, and I'm not saying this is across the board. I don't know who misuse or don't manage the funds properly. There may be some that do that, but you absolutely need money.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if God allows your church or your congregation to grow and people are being, it just comes with the territory. It's going to be more responsibility. You're going to need more money. If you're on several different TV stations, then you're going to,
So you don't think there's nothing wrong with that kind of commercial growth when it comes to the church and what they, and you know what it is? I think a lot of times, hold on, this somebody may be calling to ask you a question, or maybe not.
Really? Oh,
but
okay.
But I think a lot of times, again, that broad brush that we speak of. For example, it comes down to prosperity churches. It comes to materialism, right? Like you'll see a pastor with a Rolls Royce. I don't get it, first of all. Especially when you have members of a congregation that are suffering. Now, don't get me wrong. Not saying you're not supposed to be fly. You know what I mean? But the Rolls Royce, they can probably sell them by 500 and like about 14 Corollas and spread the, you know what I'm saying? How do you feel about that whole materialism? Do you think it's okay for a pastor to be trying to drive around in a Rolls Royce and fly in a G5? Because here's how they justify it. Well, the Lord wants the best for his people. How do you feel about a pastor driving around and living like that?
Well, when y'all see me driving around and living like that,
right?
What they don't know is, what people don't know is, people don't know what, like TD Jake speaks of all that he went through, how him and his wife were in a car, and I think they had mostly one potato leave, living out of a car. You understand? People don't see where you're coming from. That.
Right.
You understand? And again, if you're going to paint a broad brush, some people may be in it for the wrong reasons, and we don't get to judge. That's not our place to judge. That's God's place to judge. You know what I'm saying? But if you name me one millionaire that's around here driving Corollas.
I don't know any.
Okay. You're not going to see Dwayne Wade doing it. In other words, if you've acquired that and that level of living, and some people think that pastors or some people involved in ministry, that is only the church. These people are movie producers and writers, and they met their own.
But
money.
a lot of that stuff, if we're keeping it real, they gained a lot of that platform from the ministry. It's not necessarily that they were that before they came to the ministry. All right, for example, you go to church and people have sold millions of books, but they didn't sell it as Joe Blow. They sold it as mega church pastor Joe Blow.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a situation where a lot of people feel like you're in the church, materialism clouds judgment. So do you really
That's
think,
crazy.
Do you really think you can have a pastor that is into all that material stuff and is not tainted and straying away from the word?
I mean, if it depends on where your heart is. If it's about the materialism, if it's about material things, you probably was being jacked up from way before that anyway.
I got you.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
That don't happen when you get to being.
Right.
That was going on before.
So you showed up shady.
You understand what I'm saying? So if again and again, it goes back to those who are able to stay focused on their purpose and what it is that I'm here to do. Then some things come with the territory. And then outside of church or outside of ministry, people have a life. You understand what I'm saying? Like they have their wives and their families, and so there was this thing the other day with John Gray and this car that he bought, Pastor John Gray, and the car he bought his wife. Let me tell you, I wish one of y'all would.
Bam, 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 bam,
no,
bam.
because again, let me tell you.
Right.
And a lot of people may not know this, especially as a pastor. There are a lot of sacrifices they make, and most people don't see that. Most people might not see the sacrifices that they make for those in their congregation, for others. So we cannot stand on the outside and judge. And to think that materialism Lism is like crazy. Like people have a problem with that. The Bible talks about heaven having streets of gold.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
But is that literal though?
Of course, name me something more baller than walking on gold.
You think it's literal? You don't think it's a figure of speech or nothing like
What
that?
would be the figure of speech?
Dig up that road there and see if we can get out there. Yeah, I mean, make some chin or something out there.
But yeah, but we can't think of heaven as a earthly place.
Right.
That's a different realm.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Here, we're in a totally different realm, and things happen differently than there.
Right.
You understand? So, but if you look again, man, look throughout the Bible. God whole thing, he would talk to the Israelites about giving them a land flowing with milk and honey, speaking of prosperity and causing them to prosper and to grow. God don't have no problem with you prospering.
Right.
It's when you allow that now to go before him. Is when you allow that to drive you. And God is not the type of God that's going to trust you with that type of prosperity if you haven't if he can't trust you with it.
But I mean, people get put in situations. Well, that's a whole different convo.
And they can attain it. Now, there's ways you can attain it
right
outside of God's way. But I'm just telling you, ain't no rich and wealth and blessing like when God bless you, like when he's with you. It don't matter what nobody say.
Right. We got to go do a part 2 for this. I personally feel like the church and Christianity has been mismarketed by our elders as I just feel like this is how I grew up seeing it. It's like the no fun zone. You know what I mean? It's a lot of stoicism or nothing. You know what I'm saying? So let me see if this person is for the convo. Homegrown. Hello. Or not. So yeah, and I feel like the younger generation right now, the younger pastors, are on a mission to disprove that. You know what I mean? Sometimes even going to a far extremes when you go to church right now. Church, right? You see the production. Sometimes I think they even cross the line. My church, I think someone cross the line. But that's a whole different ballgame. Do you see that though? Do you ever get that feel like, yo, this is mismarketed? People think that church is just straight jackets, ties, being formal and stoic and the whole nine, and there's no fun. Yeah, you get that?
I do. Yeah.
Now, is it pressure on you to disprove that and dispel that to the younger people coming up?
No, it's not pressure on me. I just live.
Right.
I have 2 sons. I just live. You
Just
know,
doing you.
I just live, and I make sure I'm living according to God's word. I just live, and so what religion will cause you to do is be 2 different people. Right. So it will make you feel like you're a separate person outside of, you know, your beliefs. Right. But it's really who you are. It should be intertwined. You understand what I'm saying? It's just who I am. So I just live. I just live. I know how to have fun and laugh, right? And like have a good time, right? And there's a time and place for everything. You know what I mean? And then there are boundaries. There are things I cannot do. Right. There are things I choose not to do, because God don't expect that of me because of what He's put in place. You know what I mean? Just live. But when you try to preach one thing and then do another thing, and then what you're preaching and doing don't line up with the Bible, then that's when people start to be like, yo, I can't with this. Because then that creates internal struggles.
I dig it. Let me first of all say, on behalf of myself and on behalf of the masses, how much I appreciate you stopping by and having a convo. And the funny thing about it is there's a lot of things we don't even go into because a lot of things is personal stuff, and like I said, people being personally rebellious. Right. In a situation like this, I honestly can't field the questions because everybody, again, that's a whole different ball game, right? There's a whole different.
I mean, what they asking? What they?
Let me see what I go on there about now. Well, I mean, it's more so comments than probably questions, but you know, like again, responding at certain times, sin can be punished different than but the church judges their members, which is absolutely true. Right. You know?
But see, that's what I'm saying. It's not the person that should be judged. Right. You understand what I'm saying? It's the act. You get what I'm saying?
But is that realistic though?
Of course it's realistic.
I feel like sometimes we are asking human beings to live by inhuman standards, but than beyond human standards. You know what I'm saying?
By asking them to do what?
Forgive certain situations, turn the other cheek, a whole bunch of the stuff that they say in the Bible that we're supposed to do. You know what I mean?
And that's why we got Holy Spirit. That's the helper right there. So if I tell people all the time, if you're going to believe the Bible, is either you're going to believe all of it or none of it. You can't pick and choose what you want to believe and what you don't want to believe.
So you can't believe Deuteronomy 14 say enough to eat that, but in the fornication verse you leave out. You can't. It don't work that way.
It doesn't.
All right. Well, you heard that.
It don't. So
right.
So there is a way that we can get it done.
Yeah.
That God didn't leave it up to us.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? That's the whole point of this whole redemption and Jesus coming back, and he's saying, now I'm gonna send you a helper. And the Bible talks about the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, faithfulness, temperament, meekness, gentleness.
I will tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this. It's great to hear you have that. EK says, hate the sin, not the sinner.
Absolutely.
See,
God love people. God never gave up on us, and we shouldn't give up on people.
You're one of the few ministers. Hopefully they don't change you.
No, they won't. No, where I'm at, listen, I'll tell you where I'm at. It's only about God's word. Right. And it's actually helped me to become more. It has broadened and brought me into greater understanding of God's nature and studying his word. Because we have to be taught how to study and how to approach his word. You know, the Bible, it wasn't written by people who spoke English. The Old Testament is in Hebrew, New Testament is in Greek. So we have to go past just the passive reading to get some greater understanding. You understand what I mean?
That actually we probably have to come back and talk about too. Absolutely. Because then we're talking about what we feel was taken out, what we feel was added in, all kinds of stuff like that. Because there's a lot of inconsistencies, but there's inconsistencies in the newspaper too. But you know,
well, I mean, I don't feel like there's inconsistencies, but like you said, maybe another time for another conversation. I get it.
Trust me, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I want you to help me welcome and thank our guest.
Yeah, man.
All right, I'm gonna give him a little piece of another one of his songs. This is beautiful from the album Prophetic Piano.
Sure.
All right, check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, it's called Beautiful, and it is indeed beautiful. Minister Stephane.
Yes, sir. Stephen, aren't you working? That was something he want me to play before we leave. Boy, go do something.
Talk to me about it. You have a new project you're working on.
Yes,
right?
I have a new project that I'm working on. It's called Love Never Fails. It's called Love Never Fails. I'm co-producing it with Stephane Murphy, Vinny. There's gonna be a lot of collaborations on there. It's gonna be mostly roots,
right?
With a little bit of, dub, and it's gonna be nice.
Yeah,
it's gonna be nice.
Something everybody can listen to.
Yeah,
all our vibes.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the things that's for me as a music lover. I find that a lot of times I can't listen to. So there's not a lane of music that I can listen to where I'm just like, all right. Like for example, I love Damian Marley, right? I love Stephane Marley, and a lot of their songs are great. But sometimes I'm not a Rasta, so I'm not depend on Rasta vibes. You're excluded from that. You understand what I'm saying? But they're still great. There's certain things I just don't agree with, even though it sound good. I'm like, I don't really, I don't really roll with that. And I find that as a Christian, not too many people give me that ability without sounding like trash. I'll put it like that.
I like when people say trash because some things are trash.
Yeah, they don't have that level of excellence. You understand what I'm saying? There should be a certain level of excellence, not only musical wise, but lyrical content. So what you telling me? You're not telling me nothing. Like you know what I'm saying? But I can listen to, like a lot of times when I listen, even Bob being one of my favorite artists, I could tell Bob really, him and what he believed wasn't two separate things.
Right.
It was one thing and it came through in everything he did.
Right.
And what you find is a lot of gospel artists, what they do, and you know what I'm saying, is two separate things. It don't come through. And so you don't really get any substance from them.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? Freestyle a lyric. Actually, I did on his show a couple weeks ago, but that's for another time. No, but I'll be DJing on it. A little bit of Sing Jane. Steven's gonna be on there. St. Orbin, Lavi. It's a lot of collaboration, but it's about love never fails. It's about relationships. We never give up on people.
So you consider it more of a gospel project or an inspirational project?
No, it's not gospel because I'm not talking about Jesus in that way of bringing people to Jesus, but it is based on the foundation of godliness and kingdom thinking. So I talk about relationships. I talk about we'll leave us something.
I better get trouble in here, man. One chorus,
one lyric. Verse. One lyric. I can't even remember the verse right now.
You want to hear him?
No. He did that to me and I had to do it. He actually, my mind is so not in that place right now. I have to actually, I'm not like you where you can do on call. This is new territory for me. So
right, you're normally behind.
Yes, I was coming here prepared to talk. I wasn't prepared to DJ nothing.
It's all good because here's what we'll do. Next time you come, we'll bring out the good China. You bring some of the songs, them.
Absolutely.
And we'll give some of them live to the masses.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I don't have a problem with that.
And I know they love it. Murphy, stop harass my guests, all right? Please, stop harass my guests. May I press the red button that blocks all the harassing?
I'm not shy, sir.
So.
I'm not shy. We have to go. That's really what it is.
Okay, well, that is true. I mean, we do. Yes, I'm going to side with you on that one just to be supportive.
I mean, I'm not in a rush, but if you say it's time to go, then it's time to go. It's all on you.
It's protocol. We ain't got to go nowhere.
Okay.
But don't know. I'm going to save it for the next time because I feel like we can get him a show. Something nice. I want to say a show. I mean, a couple of songs, the way you'd like to deliver it. Because that's the thing about an artist, too, is sometimes you put them on the spot. It's not how they'd like to deliver it, especially if it's the first time it's being heard.
I don't want to. All right, listen, I don't want to make it sound like I'm being shy. It's not that. It's just. We in a zone right now. We getting ready to leave. If me start DJ and thing and beer, fire, blaze and
we got
you know
time.
What I mean?
So, Steven, stop pressure the people. Stop pressure the people. All right, stop pressure my guests. All right, time for us to get up out of here. And this show, ladies and gentlemen, of course, is brought to you
for Studio Time production, beats, voiceovers, commercials, soundtracks, audio transfer, live music recordings. There's only one place to go. It's Nucleus Studios, located at 4121 Northwest 5th Street in Plantation. Call 954-848-4230. That's 954-848-4230. Nucleus Studios. When it comes to clarity and quality, they have it. So before you decide to record any project, do it with the professionals. Contact Nucleus Studios. If you're a singer, drummer, keyboard player, if you're in music, the only place to get it done is Nucleus Studios. With the state-of-art equipment, they will do the job properly, professionally. Quality is guaranteed. Call them now, 954-848-4230. They're located at 4121 Northwest 5th Street in Plantation. And remember, there's only one place to go, Nucleus Studios.
Kev Doll Promotions in association with Class Act presents Father's Day Extravaganza featuring Luca D from the group Lust and backed by popular demand Goose, Saturday, June 15th at the Villa Lounge, 19501 Northwest 2nd Avenue in Miami Gardens. Your DJs Richie Poo, Rich For Real, Fire Kurt, X Squad. Advance tickets $45, VIP tickets $65. Doors open 10 p.m., showtime 1 a.m. For tickets and info, 954-297-4751, 954-274-5312. Tickets available at Jamaica House Restaurant, Junie's Restaurant, Nadine Vibes Restaurant, Kingston Flavor, The Patty Place, BNS Grocery, Taste Right Jamaican Bakery, Sam's West Indian Grocery, Broward Meat and Fish, JW Family Travel, Kingston Delight, Aunt Eyes, Dolores Kitchen, Donna's Restaurant, Reggae and Things, Rainbow Variety Store, and Carl's Seafood. Event sponsored by Class Act Promotion and Productions, WZPP Radio, SFL Caribbean TV, Homegrown with G Cole, and Ashley Promotion. You don't want to miss it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I tell you, I had a great time this evening. I'm not telling you, Stephane. Thanks so much for coming in. Again, we do Blaze a Fire here.
Yes, sir.
And there's some people we are going to blaze a fire for.
Yeah.
Let it rip.
So, I'm working on a project, right? Mm-hmm. And this first song is a title track. It's called Love Never Fails. Mm-hmm. And the producer them now do them job.
Yeah.
You understand? Someone like Vinnie Hamilton.
Yeah, from
and
Vinnie
Steve
Hamilton
Murphy.
Productions.
You understand?
Murphy Productions.
Man, them send the session, so I can voice me thing,
Yeah.
And stop fight out my career,
Yeah.
And that may I tell you, cause God nah sleep.
Yo. I wonder if it's because them feel say, yeah, reverence, you must forgive them. And you gotta turn the other cheek.
I'll forgive them.
You can't club them with a bass guitar,
No, listen. I know how to get them back, man. It's all right, man. It's all right. So Vinny, please send the session to Steven. And Steven, let's get this studio session done so I can finish this project, please.
So that the man can come back and perform the tune.
Thank you.
Without having to deal with you in the comments talking all kind of madness.
Thanks.
Easy.
Thank you.
Tell the Massive and crew where your church is and where they can come see.
Transformation Empowerment Worship Center is in Miami Gardens, 20451 Northwest 2nd Avenue. We're on the 2nd floor, Suite 205. The door code is star 9363. Actually, this Sunday is what we call Ask the Doctor. Mm-hmm. So our apostle, Dr. T.D. McNutt, the entire time he's going to be taking questions. So you can write your questions. We're going to be streaming live, and we talk about everything: relationship, love, violations, struggles, sin, anything you've ever wanted to ask a pastor, or you get to ask. And so we're having that platform. It's Family and Friends Day, so come visit us. I'll be there playing the piano. Because some people apparently didn't know I play, but it's awesome. But that's where I am, and we have a lot of things coming up. We have a summer music extravaganza that's coming up in July, and then I have my show, Murphy's Law, on Facebook, which I do on Wednesday nights from 9 to 10:30, about just talking about different topics. Last night we talked about we needing people. We need each other. And so we've talked about intimacy on previous shows. We've talked about communication on previous. So Wednesdays, Facebook page, Stephane Murphy, Instagram, Stephane Murphy, and you'll see me and my tribe, every now and again rolling around.
I love it. I love EK says, before you go to sleep, give all your troubles to God. He will be up all night anyway.
Absolutely.
I dig that. You know what? Since I mentioned the streaming on the whole nine, because that conversation I'm having real quick, I won't keep you too long, but
I'm good, bro.
You're good?
I'm good.
Them talk about going to church, and they always say, you need we're more than one gathered. You know what I mean? You got to go to the house and go to the watering hole. Can the watering hole be in my living room watching the live stream?
No, man.
No?
Why you streaming if you don't listen, it can be. But if you have the ability to go and be in that atmosphere, you should.
So if I have the ability to watch the stream?
I mean, you could choose to do that also.
Am I being less blessed? Am I going to be on the lower lobby of heaven?
That's not what No? It don't have nothing to do with being on the lower lobby of heaven. But there are, how I can put it, it's like watching a concert and actually being at the concert. Right. You can watch Beyonce show live, like let's just say take the Super Bowl halftime show. We watched it and we was like, yo, it was great. But I guarantee you, everybody who was there have a greater experience, or it was different in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
And so that's the benefit. I mean, that's like, you know what I mean? Like, who, if you're in a relationship, who always want to be talking on the phone? Who always want to be FaceTiming? You want to be in that person's presence, literally. Right. You know what I'm saying? So there is a benefit to it. I think sometimes technology can make us get lazy, and it serves its purpose. But definitely, man, go and fellowship and feel the strength of others. You can't feel that
from the live stream.
But
ain't nothing wrong with watching the live stream.
No, I'm not saying anything is wrong with watching the live stream. Okay. No, that's not what I'm saying.
So if I choose to be an online coach member of the thing, I'm good.
When this Sunday coming? Or period?
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that.
No, you gonna block me?
I didn't say I'm gonna block you. And I'm sure they wouldn't. No pastor should. But you know, sometimes they may choose. It just depends, man. Yeah. It depends. But I always say you want to be there. Why not? You know what I'm saying? And it's not about the other people. You know what I mean? It's about your relationship with God. And so
God created man created cameras.
Like I said, sometimes we've gotten so used to tradition. You know what I mean? It change. It's a crazy thing, our perception,
right,
and our mentality. You know, it can really hinder us from experiencing God in the way we really should and really can.
Right.
Perception and mentality is a dangerous thing, and so, you know, Israel was slave to Egypt, right? Biblically. And they were actually greater in number than the Egyptians that they were enslaved to. That's all about mentality. That's all about perception and mentality. Oh, me no further than you, and you have me in a slavery.
I feel you on that one.
So, you know,
I'm gonna come check out the church one of them. The piece of the rest of them, I gonna love your church, you know, cause you're different. You know what I mean?
No, man. Hey, listen, we want everybody coming a Rasta man. Everybody.
Just can't blaze in that church. Girl.
No, you can do it before you come in if that's what you do. Listen, we're not. I'm trying to tell you.
Free jump.
We're not about religion. Now we are about standards.
Right.
But it ain't about religion. Come. You might come. You might blaze one before you come in, and when you leave, you don't even have the desire to blaze no more. I'm telling you. So
it's clearer now. I hear you. Ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you so much. Stephen, no more comments from you. Leave the artist alone. All right? We got to get up out of here.
Music done.
So do as I was to do. And stop texting to the artist. Because
right.
You know the artist is a forgiving artist. All right? We got to go. Again, thank you so much again for coming in, brother. I appreciate you.
Yo, man, next time I come play some more roots and thing, brother, you just
Well, no, I know. I mean, you know what? Next thing you rebuke me. I mean,
no, sir.
Well, no, I know. No, I know. You look at me there, some grace
Hey, you should have. That would have bring back some serious memories.
Yeah.
Because I can't even walk.
Cool, man. Cool now. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Share the link.
Nakikinika sa música, Homegrown with G Cole.
Estás escuchando Homegrown con G Cole.
您现在正在收听的是 Homegrown with G Cole.
You're listening to Homegrown with G Cole.